Hi, Alvin here, and you are watching episode 64 of the 3-Minute Health Tip. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about chronic fatigue. Now, if you're suffering from chronic fatigue, I understand how frustrating it can be, especially because from a medical standpoint, it's also known as a chronic fatigue syndrome because there's other symptoms that tend to be associated with it, and there's really a lot of mystery around how you develop chronic fatigue. Sometimes it's associated with joint pains, sometimes associated with lymphatic or swelling or lymph node swelling. And so in this episode of the 3-Minute Health Tip, we're going to look at chronic fatigue from a G&M perspective and understanding the 5 biological laws. Specifically, we're going to focus on the second biological law, which states that every biological program runs in 2 phases, provided there's a resolution to the conflict. And so to encapsulate the second biological law, we have to remember that when we have an unexpected conflict shock in our lives, an unexpected event, whether that's at work, whether it's at home in a relationship, we immediately enter the conflict active phase. But it's our entire organism that enters that conflict active phase, which is a stress state. We become preoccupied with that conflict at the emotional level. There's an impact that's measurable in the brain, and there's changes that happen at the organ level. And during this conflict active phase, we have cold hands and cold feet. We get interrupted sleep. We don't have much of an appetite, but we have a lot of energy. And so most of the time, this conflict active phase goes unnoticed. However, when we resolve that conflict, when we finally leave that job, when we finally leave that relationship, we now enter the resolution phase or the healing phase. And it's in the healing phase that there's different changes that affect us emotionally at the brain level and at the organ level. At the organ level, the changes that were happening stop, and those tissues and organs are restored back to their normal state. The hands start to get warm. You might have a fever. Now you're relaxed emotionally about your work or that relationship. However, most of the symptoms we experience happen in the healing phase, particularly fatigue. And this is when the fatigue sets in. So it's very important for you to understand this so that when you feel exhausted, when you feel tired, when you feel like you have no energy, it's important to recognize, okay, I entered the healing phase somehow. What am I relaxing about? What did I resolve? What kind of stress was I in prior to me feeling this fatigue? And generally we know that the length of that healing phase is proportionate to the length of the conflict active phase. So if you're dealing with a very stressful work environment for a year or a very stressful relationship for a year, and you get out of that work environment or relationship and you're now in healing, potentially that fatigue could linger for about a year or so. So recognizing this and relaxing about the fact that my body needs to recover, that this fatigue is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that I finally got over that stressful situation. And it's actually, it seems counterintuitive, but it's your ability to not have any expectations or not put any pressure on yourself or not devalue yourself for feeling so tired that can help you get out of that fatigue. So honoring your body, trusting that this is a natural process based on what you were dealing with in the previous weeks or months can really help to relax your mindset or your psyche regarding the feelings of fatigue, and really just seeing what you can do, maybe having a little extra caffeine or coffee to give you enough energy to get the things done that you need to get done while you're feeling that fatigue, but also just taking the time to rest and relax and recover. Those of you tuning in that's dealing with chronic fatigue, I hope that this health tip served you in recognizing that your fatigue is due to something that you've resolved, and your ability to ease up on yourself and not devalue yourself for feeling tired or fatigue, and recognizing that it's part of a natural healing process should help you to shorten that healing phase and overcome those fatigue symptoms. So I want to thank you as always for tuning in, and I'll see you at the next episode.